Hi, Sanjey. It's a pleasure to have you here today. Your business card says Global Executive Mining Advisory. That could mean a lot of things. I know you're a specialist in your field, so could you please explain what exactly do you do? What's your role?
Well, firstly, thanks for having me, Natalie. So I spent 16 years at Nedbank's corporate and investment bank, doing mainly project financings. And, when I had originally applied for this job, I felt that a lot of consulting companies, whilst they're very good on the technical aspects of projects, the financing piece was a piece that was missing. And I thought that I could plug that gap quite nicely. So, in terms of what I do, it's a whole lot of valuations for mining companies. It's project financings, trying to advise clients on what they need in order to make an acquisition successful or to dispose of an asset, and really trying to optimize from a financial point of view. So in a nutshell, we offer a lot of corporate financial advice. Having a banking background, I've got leads into a lot of the local funding institutions, and I think quite often when a mine develops a project and you have a reserve being developed, that is where you lose most value, because that is when a company needs to raise $100 million or $200 million. And I think what DMT now brings into that equation is the technical expertise, but also the financial expertise to help these clients get over the line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I understand. And the mining industry here in Germany is more or less history. I know in Africa, where you are, and in other parts of the world, it's a very different situation. What would you say are the main developments that you're seeing at the moment in the mining industry, and how can DMT Group, as a company with over 300 years of expertise in the mining industry, help to support that progress?
Yeah, so I think, just in terms of what we're seeing internationally, there's a lot of commonality between Africa and the rest of the world. But Africa, being the continent that it is, I think also has very bespoke issues. Okay. So, ESG is the buzzword that's going around at the moment. And I think as much as it presents challenges to mining companies, there's also huge opportunity. And, if we only take the environmental part of ESG, I mean, there's, clean energy, there's technology transition, there's decarbonization. There are so many different themes. And within each one of those themes, there's a project to be done, or there's a client to advise. I think if we move that topic to Africa, as much as clients want to make a profit, and as much as you want to do what you need to do to protect, the planet, Africa is beset with a lot of social problems. There's poverty, lack of education, illiteracy, people without homes, food security. So ESG in Africa has a very, very large social component. And I think companies doing business in Africa, in order to get their social license to operate, these are the things that they need to be looking at.
Yeah.
I think also, specific to Africa is the resource nationalization. Recently, you've been seeing African governments with a lot more focus on their ownership of resources. What does that mean? It means, control of what they have in the ground from a minerals point of view. It could mean higher taxes. It could mean more bureaucracy. It could mean delays in mining licenses. It could also mean increases in royalties, as we've been seeing recently. So a different set of circumstances facing clients in Africa compared to the rest of the world. Cost inflation, something that we also need to be quite aware of. And then everybody needs to fund their projects. So access to capital is also a big issue, particularly for junior and mid-tier miners on the continent currently. What can DMT do to address these issues? I think if you look at the range of services that we offer, be it in sustainable services, in exploration, in estimating of resources and reserves, or on the financial side, I think we cover that entire project maturity curve. So the short answer to that is we can help a client all the way from pit to port.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned ESG also there at the beginning. I'm sure DMT is working together with TÜV Nord currently on the SERA 4M1 certification system and standard for the traceability and sustainability of raw materials along the entire value chain. How do you rate our opportunities there?
Yeah, so we've been commissioned by the EU to help them with the Africa Mobile project with about 13 other affiliates. And what Africa Mobile is, it's firstly building business relationships between European and African businesses. And I think more importantly, it's security of supply of critical raw materials, one for the technology transition and secondly for climate transition. In terms of what SERA has to offer, I think anybody can put a system in place or a new technology in place. But I think the challenge for us becomes, how do we know that that is the absolute best? And we need a global standard. And I think, it's probably premature to address that now, but in 3 years or 4 years' time, I think that's where SERA is where to be. And I think the beauty of value chains is, if you split up that chain into various sections, on the supply side, you've got responsible sourcing, you've got ethical mining and responsible mining. I think we've got the skills and the abilities to assist clients with that. In terms of logistics, logistical chains need to be optimized all the time. I think through our TÜV IT department, for example, with what we're seeing in AI at the moment, we've got all of the mathematical firepower to get that going. And then I think on the client side, we also need these collaborative relationships so that we understand what they need from a new product point of view, in terms of recycling, in terms of looking at, reducing their waste, reducing their carbon footprints. So I think, from supply, logistics, and the clients, I think we're very, very well positioned to assist clients in all three aspects.
Yeah. Okay. That sounds really good. And I also know you have a very impressive CV. You have
Thank you.
Over 30 years combined experience in the investment sector and in the mining industry. So I have to ask you, why DMT? How did you come to join the group?
So I'm going to get to the personal bits a bit later. But, looking from the outside, DMT is truly, an international company. I've been here for 4 months now. I've already worked on projects in Thailand, Turkey, Argentina. We're looking at a project in Chile that we bid for. We just won a bid in Zambia today. So from that point of view, truly international.
Yeah.
Personally, I spent 16 years at the bank. I wanted to start growing outside of Africa. You find that, within the banking industry, the banks tend to satisfy analysts to a certain extent. And I wanted to grow my wings, beyond the African continent. And I think, DMT offered me that. More importantly, though, for me, it was an issue of trust and integrity. Throughout my career, I've had so many promises made to me, not all of them fulfilled. When I got the call from my current boss, it was a Friday afternoon. He told me, give him an hour before I make any decisions. And I rolled my eyes and I thought, this is going to be another one of those conversations. Mm-hmm. But he called me within the hour. He set up the interview for Monday. And for me, that was really important, because I think when you look at mining consultancies in general, from a high level, we basically offer the same services. Mm. But when it comes to trust, integrity, honesty, those are things that a company doesn't build. It's the people within the company that offer you that. And I thought that came through very strongly. And that was what brought me here.
Yeah, it's really great to hear. And you do have a great team over there in South Africa. As you just mentioned, you're relatively new to the company. So is there anything else that came as a surprise, or anything else that stands out for you at DMT?
Yeah, so not so many surprises, but I thought the way the company handled my onboarding was really great. And what I'm going to say now may sound trivial, but simple things like business cards, a laptop, stationery. Even before joining the company, all of that was taken care of. When I joined DMT, I already felt like I was a part of the team.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, if I look back on my career, there were very few other companies. I haven't worked for too many companies, but there were very few other companies where I felt that I'm part of the team, from day one. Mm-hmm. The flip side of that, on the second day of at the office, my boss told me that the honeymoon phase is over. So I knew I've got my job cut out. But having said that, it's such an exciting job that I can't believe 5 months has just flown by. International projects, global projects, multiple cultures that we're dealing with, and coming out of South Africa, that's close to my heart.
Yeah.
So really happy to be here.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear it. And I guess for a lot of people watching this, especially here in Germany or in Europe, the idea of working in South Africa might be a dream for them. So are there any opportunities there? Or what kind of professionals are you looking for to complement your team?
Look, so as I mentioned earlier, Natalie, we offer services across the value chain. I think our Joburg office is particularly strong in geological services, mineral resource and reserve estimation, and geotech work. And I sit on the other extreme where I look at the financial piece of any project. Specifically within the Joburg office, I think we lack the skills in the intermediary section. So in the mine planning, mine scheduling, currently we draw on resources from the SN office. So I think that's a gap that we can plug. Generally, if we work on a project, we tend to bring in associates to assist us with that. But that's just definitely an area that we can look at. I think the other thing which I'd like to raise is just work-life balance at DMT. As much as you enjoy the job, there's always a place for your family, and there's always a place for you to get away. And South Africa is a land of sunshine. So very happy to entertain any youngsters who are keen to have a chat to me.
So if anybody watching this thinks, oh yeah, that sounds like it might be right for me, and they have qualifications and maybe starting out in the mining industry, what advice would you give them?
Look, that's a tough one, and I think I'll make this personal. Again, I think in terms of growing within a company, it's not just the work that you do. You need to enjoy the work that you do, but that's not enough. I think you need to build relationships. I think you need to expand, beyond your local office. And I think, DMT provides that. We've got, 11, 12 international offices. So make those contacts, get your name out there, build a brand for yourself, get out to clients, get out to conferences, so that you're not just known within the local office, but you grow within the group rather than growing within the office.
Yeah. As you have done.
Thank you.
Well, I won't keep you. I know you're a very, very busy man. So thank you very much for your time and for the insights into your job and your career. Thank you, Sanjey.
Pleasure chatting to you, Natalie. Thanks so much.